Welcome to Pop Flashback. I'm your host, Rick Smalls.
And I'm Tina Boucher. Today we are looking into the solo career of Paul McCartney. Okay, let's unpack this. The solo journey of Paul McCartney right after the Beatles broke up.
Yeah, it's a fascinating period. Everyone knows the Beatles, obviously, but what happens next?
Exactly. And it wasn't just smooth sailing, was it? I mean, stepping out from that shadow.
Not at all. There's this interesting dynamic right away.
Yeah.
We hear about this incredible musical talent, obviously. He knew he had it.
Right, he's Paul McCartney.
But at the same time, apparently a lot of self-doubt after the split. It makes you think, what did that Beatles structure provide for him?
That's a great point. That collaborative energy, maybe, the shared pressure. Suddenly it's just him.
Totally. So how does that play out? Well, he starts making his own music, of course, but then he forms Wings.
With Linda, initially.
Yeah.
And Denny Seiwell on drums, Denny Laine on guitar.
That's the first lineup, yeah. And a big part of that, it seems, was wanting Linda involved to keep the family together, especially with touring.
Right, blending the personal and the professional.
Yeah.
Smart, in a way. But the music itself, those first Wings albums, Wildlife, Red Rose Speedway, they didn't exactly set the world on fire critically, did they?
No, that's true. Critics were pretty harsh, often calling them, artistic disappointments compared to his Beatles stuff, which is a tough comparison, really.
An impossible standard, almost. So you've got this internal doubt, maybe, and then external criticism saying it's not the Beatles.
Exactly. It highlights a massive challenge, doesn't it? How do you follow that? Especially when you're trying something a bit different, bringing in your wife who wasn't like a pro musician beforehand.
It shows some real determination, though, to stick with it despite that pressure.
Absolutely. A real drive to build something new. It's interesting how his early solo stuff felt maybe less overtly personal than, say, John Lennon's at the time. More outward-looking, perhaps.
So, okay, we have McCartney grappling with this mix of confidence and uncertainty, forming Wings with Linda, Seiwell, and Laine, and facing down those early critics. Where do they go from there? We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor, Hangry.com.
Hangry.
Hangry. Totally, and we're looking at their online shop today, and it's pretty wild. Got like everything you could think of, from T-shirts and sweatshirts to candles and stickers, and they've got all this stuff with this really fun food-themed kind of spin on it.
Yeah,
it's interesting how they've taken what's a pretty negative emotion and spun it to be something.
To be something good.
Yeah, like something relatable and fun.
And then they do something kind of bold. They start touring.
Small venues, building momentum.
Yeah, and crucially, they intentionally played no Beatles songs.
Wow, really? None at all?
None. It was a clear statement. This is Wings. This is something new. We're not just Paul McCartney and his backing band playing the hits.
That takes guts to leave that whole amazing catalog on the shelf.
Definitely. And they weren't afraid of stirring things up either. Think about Give Ireland Back to the Irish.
Well, yeah, the band single.
Yeah.
Politically charged.
Very. Banned by the BBC, but it still charted pretty well. Opinions were really divided on whether it was, a good song or just provocative.
And then, on the complete other end of the spectrum,
Mary Had a Little Lamb, literally a nursery rhyme.
Talk about range.
Yeah, really diverse, maybe even confusing mix of stuff early on.
Showing different facets, maybe. Experimenting.
Could be. Then came Red Rose Speedway, credited to Paul McCartney and Wings this time.
And that had my love, didn't it? Their first really big U.S. hit.
Exactly. #1 in the States. Apparently it was even meant to be a double album originally, but got trimmed down. Lots of material being generated.
Things are looking up, but then right before Band on the Run, trouble.
Big trouble. Just as they're about to head off to Lagos, Nigeria to record, both Henry McCullough and Denny Seiwell quit the band.
What? It's like that.
Right before recording. Yep. Suddenly it's just Paul, Linda, and Denny Laine left to make the next album.
Yeah.
In Lagos.
That's intense. And Lagos itself wasn't smooth sailing either, was it? I remember hearing stories.
Oh, it was incredibly challenging. They got robbed at knifepoint, lost demo tapes.
No way.
Yeah, rough stuff. And the studio itself apparently had issues. It was quite the ordeal.
Sounds like a nightmare. How did they even manage to record anything?
Well, adversity sometimes sparks creativity, right?
Yeah.
And Paul really stepped up because they were shorthanded.
He had to play more instruments?
He played bass, drums, percussion, and most of the lead guitar parts himself.
Wow. Just laid it all down.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And the result, Band on the Run.
Which many people say is his best post-Beatles album. Huge critical success, massive commercial success.
Absolutely. Hits like Jet, the title track.
Yeah.
It just clicked. It really cemented his solo identity, I think. A triumph coming out of all that difficulty.
A testament to his resilience and just pure musical ability, overcoming the lineup changes, the robbery, everything.
For sure. And Wings carried on after that, of course. Different lineups again. Jimmy McCullough came in on guitar, Jeff Britton on drums for a bit, then Joe English.
Right. The band kept evolving.
And they had more hits. Venus and Mars did really well. Listen to What the Man Said was another U.S. #1.
So looking back at that whole early period, it's quite a roller coaster. From the Beatles' shadow through Wings' shaky start, the controversies, the Legos nightmare, to the triumph of Band on the Run.
It really is. Opinions on his whole post-Beatles career vary, of course. Some see him as always adapting, chasing trends maybe. Others think his solo work is underrated, unique.
It's complex. He was trying to define himself outside the biggest band the world had ever known.
Yeah, which leads to a good question for you listening. Reflecting on Paul McCartney's early solo work and the whole formation of Wings, what do you think was the biggest challenge he faced in establishing himself outside of the Beatles? Let us know in the comments.
Thanks for listening. Remember to like and subscribe so you can get our next episode.
Catch you next time.